Today the Church celebrates the witness of the saints and martyrs of the Reformation era. We are recognising their godliness and their courage. You know, their selflessness reminds me of the heroic acts of our health workers and carers at this time, and the way that our neighbours and local community are placing the needs of others before themselves every day. But first, let's hear again what St. Paul writes in his letter to the Corinthians. For he says, "For we do not proclaim ourselves, we proclaim Jesus Christ as Lord, and ourselves as your slaves, for Jesus' sake. For it is God who said, 'Let light shine out of darkness,' who has shone in our hearts to give the light of the knowledge of the glory of God in the face of Jesus Christ. But we have this treasure in clay jars, so that it may be made clear that this extraordinary power belongs to God and does not come from us. We are afflicted in every way, but not crushed, perplexed, but not driven to despair, persecuted, but not forsaken, struck down, but not destroyed, always carrying in the body the death of Jesus, so that the life of Jesus may also be made visible in our bodies. For while we live, we are always being given up to death for Jesus' sake, so that the life of Jesus may be made visible in our mortal flesh. So death is at work in us, but life in you." I am reminded of a tale from Indian folklore about a water bearer, and you may have heard it. It goes like this. A water bearer in India had two large pots. One hung on each end of a pole which she carried across her neck. One of the pots had a crack in it, while the other was perfect and always delivered a full portion of water at the end of the long walk from the stream to the mistress's house. The cracked pot arrived only half full. For a full 2 years this went on daily, with the bearer delivering only 1.5 pots full of water to her master's house. The perfect pot was proud of its accomplishments, perfect to the end for which it was made, but the poor cracked pot was ashamed of its own imperfection and miserable that it was able to accomplish only half of what it had been made to do. After 2 years of what it perceived to be a bitter failure, it spoke to the water bearer one day by the stream. "I am ashamed of myself and I want to apologise to you." "Why?" asked the water bearer. "What are you ashamed of?" "I have been able for these past 2 years to deliver only half my load because this crack in my side causes water to leak out all the way back to your mistress's house. Because of my flaws, you have to do all the work, and you don't get full value from your efforts," the pot said. The water bearer felt sorry for the old cracked pot, and in her compassion she said, "As we return to the mistress' house, I want you to notice the beautiful flowers along the path." Indeed, as they went up the hill, the old cracked pot took notice of the sun warming the beautiful wild flowers on the side of the path, and this cheered it some. But at the end of the trail, it still felt bad because it had leaked out half its load, and so again it apologised to the bearer for its failure. The bearer said to the pot, "Did you notice that there were flowers only on your side of the path, but not on the other pot's side? That's because I've always known about your flaw, and I took advantage of it. I planted flower seeds on your side of the path, and every day while we walked back from the stream, you've watered them. For 2 years I have been able to pick these beautiful flowers to decorate my mistress's table, and without you being just the way you are, she would not have this beauty to grace her house. You know, I think we're all a bit cracked, just like those pots. For us humans, we're all like jars of clay, vessels made of earth, capable of so many things, carrying all kinds of different personalities, talents, experiences and stories. And whilst we are incredibly valuable, at times we are terribly fragile. And in the midst of our comings and goings, God, in all his goodness, doesn't value us because of what we are used for. He values us because of what we are made of, earth and the divine. His children. Within us, he stores what is most precious to him, our very selves. He loves us for who we are, and our love for him and our love for others shines through. And it's this that changes a vessel that has been knocked around by everyday life to shine like a jar that sits on that top shelf. Only it's more beautiful, broken yet restored,